a a game stream. I streamed before work actually, and now I'm back to the scale model build, and I'll try and stream for like 45 minutes to an hour or so. I'm actually doing judo practice afterwards, so yeah, I'll scale model and then kind of clean up and then get going. But here for an hour, gonna do some scale modeling, working on the FA18. It's gonna be fun. So last time where I left off, I was painting some of these dials right here and right here, and you can see they kind of came out nicely. So I'm not using the let's see if I don't have many viewers. I don't think I have any viewers yet, but hopefully I'll get some people. I got a couple people on my last scale model stream. But yeah, so I'm not just painting them white. I'm doing a combination of gray, which I already did, then white and red. But I'm gonna be clear painting them. I'm gonna be clear coating first before I do the white and red, because they're in a glossy finish, kind of this glossy white here. But anyway, so I have a kind of a messy situation here, which I'm gonna take a couple minutes to clean. And yeah, I'm just gonna be around here for now and kind of just reorganizing my workbench. So this is, for reference, this is what I'm building right now. And this is the instruction manual. Kind of just consolidating here. And yeah, I do really need to get a tripod. That would be nice. Here's another piece that I cut out from the sprue. In fact, my next main big step is really clear coating. But to clear coat, I think I'm gonna need to put on, well, clear coating really releases a lot of fumes, as do any spray paints. And I'm gonna be wearing, maybe I'll put this on, or I'll do it a little later just for fun, but I'm gonna be wearing one of these. And that's not the problem. The problem is that the compressor, and especially my vent hood, and I'll show you as I'm kind of clearing my workstation, the vent hood right here releases a lot of it releases fumes into the window, which is good, through the window, but it's really loud. But I think for that I can mute myself. The real issue is that I don't have a tripod, and I'm kind of just leaning my camera on a bottle of paint thinner. But yeah, anyway. And maybe I'll set up my view from above, because that was very helpful last time. So I'll do this. Kind of cleared some space. Kind of orient this right here for now. It's not too bad. A makeshift, like a makeshift stand, which works. And you know what I can do? I can actually use a spray can that's a little more stable. Yeah, that really works. And I'll be highlighting my key pieces here. So that's really not bad. And I'll use my thinner as a stand for my face when I wanna put the camera onto my face. But I think this really works well. And I'm gonna bring my chat out and just kind of reorient. Camera is facing this way, so I'll do something like this. Perfect. And you know what? Just to make it a little more cinematic, I'll bring this into the frame. There, that's not a bad setup. Not a bad setup at all. Temporarily, just reorganize a little bit. Maybe when I get more viewers, I'll demo some other stuff. Just clearing some space in this main area. Let me bring this into view. I wonder if I can paint with yeah, I can paint from here. Perfect. It's a lot better. I do hope to get some, and I'm gonna take like a 2-minute bio break. And I'll mute myself 2 to 5 minutes, and I'll be back soon momentarily. I'm not gonna leave, I'm just gonna mute. Hey, Sneaky Pigeon. Good to see you here. I was just taking a little break, and I was looking at various options because I don't have a tripod stand for putting up my camera, and I realized just an overhead view with it zoomed into the pieces works well. And I'm just kind of clearing my station a little bit here, so I'm gonna be streaming for like 45 minutes or so, and then I have to leave to go do something. But this is solid, and I don't have too much to do in terms of painting because I'll show you around. The big next step is spraying a clear coat on all these pieces because I like to, for like color protection, I like to spray and clear. And I'll show you this as well. It is kind of loud when I use my booth that I showed a minute ago, and there are a lot of fumes, so I use my gas mask for it, and it's not just like a normal face mask. Where did I put it? Where did it go? I thought it could be funny to kind of put on. It's right here, so I use one of these, and it's comfortable enough, but the main issue is that, I don't have a tripod yet, and angling the camera while I'm like spray painting's more in airbrushing because I do have an airbrush. I have two airbrushes actually. One is the Iwata, and I have another one somewhere with my compressor, but I don't really have a good angle to put this. Like I'd be standing here and spray painting, but well, actually, now that I think about it, I could do this. I'll think about it. I literally might do this. I am planning to. I use a COVID mask. Yeah, I used to go maskless until I really started, and it's the clears. It's the clear paints and lacquer paints that really release a lot of fumes, and they I decided to listen to some YouTubers who, and I have one of this set of goggles too. Um, but yeah, I might do this for now, and I am planning to get a tripod because I have a couple of cooking streams, and I'm planning to release more streams for cooking. I'm gonna put back go into the model view. Um, yeah, outside is good, and that would work, but I decided to invest in this hood, and it's really, really solid. It vents, if you can see here, like I lift this up and I put it in this window here, and it does a very solid job. And I do actually leave my windows open and leave my room for a couple hours, and there's barely any smell after I leave. But, I used to and I'll show you this kind of like unofficial tour of my station. With these acrylic paints, they don't smell as much. You only use your airbrush in the booth. Yeah, that would make sense because you do have to plug it in, and everything is kind of consolidated. But yeah, I've decided to do everything in my room. I don't want to be, and I do have a sizable backyard, and I just don't want to be traveling back and forth. But anyway, so what I'm doing today is, and you saw this during my last stream, I was painting these. I don't know why I'm so out of breath because I'm speaking so fast. Um, I was, let me just do this one more time. So I was painting these dials here and here and here in gray. And I'm going to do gray, white, and red, the three colors I'm going to use. And here's my red. And I am a big fan of enamels, as you know. And I'm also going to use white, but I don't have it with me here. But this piece was actually painted in white, airbrushed in white. And so I'm sort of new to airbrushing, and I'm not bad at it, but it's the pressure techniques, kind of like doing different colors, like a white that's much lighter by nature, and you really have to kind of have the right pressure and build up your coats. So yeah, but the big step really is clear coating. But I am gonna maybe take a little bit of black and touch up where I went over the edges. Maybe that's my inner perfectionist. I mean, I think, as you said yourself, it looks pretty decent. Let me just get this in focus. Looks pretty decent already. But I kind of just want to touch it up a little bit. And so I'm gonna clear a little more space. Move some stuff to the side. And I'm gonna be super slow. And afterwards, I'll move to my sprue. I might take out a few pieces of my sprue just to fill up time. I realize this could work for airbrushing as a setup, and I could wrap my phone in like plastic wrap so I don't get any paint on it. I'll see how I feel. But yeah, you like it? Thank you, Sneaky Pigeon. But I just want to touch up a little bit because and looking at the manual here, this is like my last painting step. I've painted everything else. As you can see, here's the fuselage, and I have a second half lying around. But yeah, I think I'll just cut some stuff out of sprues. But what I'm gonna do for these pieces, and these chairs, the seats came out really nice with that olive in the middle. Yeah, how's your day going, by the way, Sneaky Pigeon? Pretty good. That's same old. Good to hear you're doing well also. Kind of busy at work. I do a lot of for work. And I don't really share. I don't mind. Sorry, I don't mind sharing stuff about my life, like what I do for work, and where I live. I live in the Boston area, and for work, I'm a bioinformatics consultant. A lot of driving around to antique stores. Nice. But yeah, so I live in the Boston area and I'm a bioinformatics consultant. So I had a lot of coding related stuff, coding and debugging, the last 2 days actually. And so it was intense, but very interesting. Kind of in between projects, starting training for a new project at work. And I'm just the kind of work I do, I'm constantly in front of a screen. But some days you debug code more, other days you prepare for a presentation. Some days you might look at Excel a lot. Yeah, it is a pretty cool job, and it's a good job, and I'm very grateful to have it, and it's very interesting. I've been working there for about a year. And actually, this morning I had a work meeting around 10 a.m., but I streamed this morning before work. So I streamed until like 9:30, and I wasn't doing scale modeling. I was doing Airline Commander, one of my favorite, just getting my gloves on here. Airline Commander, which has become one of my favorite mobile games, basically a mobile flight simulator. And it's really solid for a mobile game. And I got these dilution cups here, or these trays, metal trays for painting and diluting. And the black definitely needs to be thinned with thinner. Let's see. I'm just going to check the manual to make sure it's the right black. So I believe it's a flat black. Yeah, flat black. And this is a... reading upside down. Yep, FL black, flat black. I'm just going to make a little more space here because I'm a righty. I was actually born ambidextrous, but I learned how to use my right hand, and so for stuff like painting, I use my right a lot. And see, and I'm just gonna think about kind of the areas, not the problematic areas because they're not too bad, but where I want to touch up. So I just want to touch up a little bit, maybe here, tiny bit here and here. And I'll kind of go super slowly, just maybe a couple dots. And I'm probably not even going to double coat these because it's such a small area anyway. And I have my thinners. Who made this kit again? No, not Revel. Italeri. Yeah. So, little fun fact. I was visiting some family in Israel, and they gave it to me for my birthday, but back in, like, 2017. And, yeah, Italeri's the manufacturer. And I have a couple other kits stocked up here for later. One is actually an old kit I built and just got a spare kit from eBay because I thought I had a missing part. This Chevy 69. This is a completed kit, and maybe I'll share some photos with you or post them online, make like a portfolio. But this came out really nice. I used a lot of Tamiya blue for this. And this is a GT 350 Shelby made by, so this is a Revel, the Motor City Muscle, the Chevy Camaro. And this is an AMT, and I've never built an AMT kit. You know what is going to be cool? Maybe I should open this just as a little, to kind of sidetrack a little bit and just show a few sprues. Gonna just put my phone down like this for now. Kind of like a mini unboxing. Okay, so they're all, and why don't I open? They're all painted in black. That's interesting. And in fact, the car itself is like a black chrome. Let me get my X-Acto to open up this plastic. Yeah, I have like 4 X-Acto blades. Knives, I mean, with a bunch of spare blades. Yeah, X-Actos come in super handy. Sometimes I find I'm sanding more, and sometimes I'm trimming away with X-Acto knives. Knives. But yeah, just gonna open this up here. Doing like, I guess this is an unofficial unboxing, kind of a spur of the moment unboxing. Yeah, the details are pretty good. I think the details are actually decently better than the Revel kit. Here you can see, it's pieces like this where you can really see the details, the dashboard and the pedals. And yeah, I don't know if this will be my next kit, maybe. But yeah, we'll see what AMT has to offer. I'm just gonna put this back inside. It's 1 to 25 scale, just like the Revel kit. That does look like a detailed kit. Yeah, it's pretty detailed. Though, I think this plane is substantially more detailed. Here you could see the other side of the sprue. It's the missiles, that really count. I mean, this is just smooth, but if I really go close, you can perhaps see some of these panel lines, and they're there. They're not too deep. I might consider getting a scribe tool for them, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not really gonna say which kit is better. They're both pretty solid. The Revel kit, looks like I have another viewer. The Revel kit had a few problems, for sure, and the details were decent, but Revel is notoriously known to have some fit problems, and yeah, that's just the reality. And I mean, here you can also see maybe the panel lines aren't so deep, but as far as the manual, there's a bunch of little pieces in this kit, which is nice. Anyways, I'm gonna start with the painting. So I'm just gonna set my X-Acto to the side. Oh, and by the way, if you're gonna get a scribe tool, I'd recommend not going with Kanitas. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Pigeon. That's good to know. I'll make a mental note. By the way, when I was cleaning, I found a cheap Chinese one on Amazon that works like a charm. All right, I'll definitely have to inquire and ask you for more details later. Because scribing might be a fun little extra addition I might do. I'm not quite advanced enough to do serious modifications, but just good scribing might be something I'm looking for. Um, and after I prime, because you want to rescribe after priming. And I did prime the fuselage already. And I've painted the interior of this fuselage. By the way, I was going to mention a super nice product, this brush cleaner. So I always clean my brushes with thinner and water, but this really helps get the last bits out. You kind of just, once you're more or less done cleaning, you wet your brush and you kind of just do this and you just squeeze and push off that extra gunk with your fingers, and then you do it one more time when it's clean, and it keeps the point, like, it keeps the brush really pointy. So super good tool, and I'll use it again. So I'm definitely gonna use my Warhammer brush for this. I need something. Yeah, water works. Water works, but this is a nice additional, and I don't remember how much it cost. I think like it cost like $10, but it lasts a super long time because you're only putting your brush in for a couple dabs, 2-3 dabs, and then you're good. And it keeps your brushes like super pointy. It's basically like shampoo for your brushes. Yeah, highly recommend. So here's my painting tray and my pieces of interest right here. The cockpit, kind of the frame of the seats and the dashboard, or at least one of the dashboards. So let me just adjust the angle slightly, and I can't drop my iPhone. That would be problematic. So I have to be especially careful. But I'm careful anyway because these are really small dials, and I don't want to now repaint them in black. And I can get a bit OCD about that. Painting, realigning, or like repainting just the edges and then painting it off a little bit in another color. I've done that before. So I just want to get it right from, really at this point, the second time. And I know you said it's looked good, but yeah. And for small paint jobs like this, I just put a few dabs on my toothpick and just get my enamel thinner. So I forget, because I have my, as you can see, my thinner's color coded, and I know blue is acrylic. I just forget if this is enamel or lacquer thinner. I think it's enamel, but I'm gonna check, and I have more. You know, I can probably tell by smell. It's a weird way to test the thinners, but they call it testers for a reason. Because you have to test them, haha. Yeah, so enamel, thinner, and paints to an extent have this like gasoline-like smell, whereas lacquer have like a nail polish acetone-like smell. So I think, and you can cross thin, like it works for some. Like acrylic thinner won't work, but I think like the hotter the thinner, it's like guaranteed to work. So I think you can use lacquer thinner for enamel paints. Yeah, this red color, orange red color is whatchamacallit. They call it testers for a reason. Yes, they do. So this is enamel, so we're in the clear. And these are super convenient to use to dilute your paints with. So I'm gonna stir, and I have paint stirrers, but I think I'm not really gonna look for that. I'm gonna just use this end of a toothpick and just kind of mix around. And I'll count 1, 2. Yeah, I just need a tiny bit. I'll do like 5 drops. 3, 4, 5. And I'll roughly match that with the thinner. And I have some spare toilet paper that I use. Should have it lying around here, but if not, I'll grab a spare roll from the bathroom to just wipe off the top of the can. Or rather, the top of the mini jug. I'm just gonna do a time check. I'm really dragging this session out. Actually, I haven't even started painting, just talking, but I like to talk about scale modeling. That's how dedicated I am. I warm myself up. So I'm just kind of doing this, wiping off the top, and this really helps not get the paint stuck to the rim. And what I do, this is a nice tip, I usually will add like 1 drop and then close this jug, and that prevents paint from kind of drying on the outside. Put this to the side, and I did like 5 drops, so I'll do 5 drops here. 1, 2, and these drops, no, they're roughly the same. 3, 4, 5. Obviously, the size of the drops isn't the same, but you don't have to be exactly 50-50 with this. At the end of the day, I do like a brush test. That might be a little too thin. We'll see. Let me move my phone a little closer to my work area. Where's my Warhammer? Yeah, that's a little too thin, but it could work. Let me just add another drop of black. Or 2. Okay. And I guess this has become a decent solution. Not having the tripod, just kind of putting it up on a Tamiya can. But I do plan on getting a tripod in the very near future, let's say in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And that will certainly make my cooking streams a lot easier. Yeah, that's like a nice even consistency. I'm just brushing some of the excess on. I'm going super slow. That's perfect. And my hands are a little shaky. That's perfect. That's all I really want to do for that one. I don't want to mess it up more. I'll do some on this side. I think I have to use stabilize it with a second hand. I need a little more on my brush. Trying to do this with surgical precision. There we go. And I might not do the other side. I might very slowly. Yeah, it is a bit thin, but it's helping me achieve my purpose of simply evening it out. I might add one more drop, but I'm not going to redo those other ones because I don't want to mess it up more. My goal is simply to kind of even things out. Um, so I'm doing nothing close to a full paint job, but I will add a few drops. You're right. The way it kind of goes on looks a bit thin, so I'll add a couple more. And I think actually I didn't stir from the bottom, and some of the paint sediment was still in the jar, didn't really get fully incorporated with the thinner, because as we know, paints themselves already have a decent amount of thinner, and the actual pigment settles to the bottom. So I am going to do the other side of that dial. I just want to be super slow. I know you can't really see this because I'm covering it with my hands. Yeah, that came out about right. I know the focus probably is awful. Well, that's okay, but take my word for it. It's looking a bit cleaner now. And do this other dial here, this one. Yeah, that's a bit better. And I think I'm good for the lower section. For the upper section, I just want to do one dial. Got some paint on my gloves, but that's the nice thing about wearing gloves. That was a close call. So I like a lot of electronic music, and in fact, in my game streams, you can listen to kind of the music I listen to on a daily basis. I, for one, sometimes put on my workout playlist. I also put on like Apple Chill music, but it's very electronic based. I like Spangle a lot. Like, not a lot of mainstream stuff, so I don't know if you know Spangle, Blue Tech, and a bunch of other just non-mainstream EDM. But I like mainstream music too. I like a bit of rap. I like Drake. When it comes to rap, I do like the big names. Travis Scott. Yeah. Sometimes I can be picky with music, and sometimes I'm not. But if you look at some of my other streams with the games, with the Flight Simulator, you could kind of get a good sense of what kind of music I like. So I'm doing this upper seat dial here. I'm just gotta dab a little more on my brush, take off the excess, and yeah, just a moment of focus here. Perfect. So I think I'm good for the lower dials. I don't want to like fudge them anymore and mess something up, actually repaint them in black. In fact, this area right here looks like it doesn't have enough gray. Maybe I'll add a different session. Maybe I'll add gray. What I'm going to do, I will do that before I spray paint. I'm going to add a line through like this to kind of split, add back black intentionally. And then I'll touch them up with gray again. And yeah, it's my, OCD, but, it's the details that count. And this is a very, like, OCD-inducing hobby. You don't meet many electronic fans nowadays. Yeah, it's not nowadays. Yeah, it's not as popular as, let's say, like 2015, 2010 even. Yeah. But highly recommend Spangle and Nibbana. Very non-mainstream, solid electronic music artist. Whoops. So this is good. I'm going to put this to the side. And for this piece right here, this dial just below it, you can't really see it in the camera, needs a few more touch-ups. Just like one stroke and this bigger dial with gray. And that will be that. And then maybe I'll cut some pieces out of a sprue. Pigeon, what kind of music do you like? And yeah, I'm done with this dashboard. That was super fast. So yeah, I'm done with these black touch-ups. And I think, by the way, with these other... Used to listen to mostly to rap. Nice. I do like rap here and there. Do you like Drake, Travis Scott? Those are some of my favorites. But been exclusive listening to metal for the last few months. Yeah, I have a couple friends who are into metal, for sure. I'm not huge on metal myself, just I haven't had the most exposure to metal, but it can be solid. Um, so that's that. I'm gonna sneak off to clear off this tray for a little bit, and I'm not, it's kind of, I'm probably gonna stream for another 10ish, 15 minutes or so, because I do have to get going somewhat soon. But yeah, I don't think I'll spray paint. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look through the manual here and just cut out some pieces for step number 2 with my sprue cutters. Yeah, that's what I'll do. But I'll be back in a sec. I'm just gonna clear out this paint tray. All right, back. Just cleaned off this tray. By the way, I do recommend. I know you alluded to not being a big user of thinners, but they do make your cleanup job a lot easier. Did a plane pass or something? I heard some very ominous. That's probably just upstairs. Yeah. No planes. But yeah, I do recommend getting thinners for cleaning, especially because they make it a lot easier. Water can work, but I know you use acrylics, so acrylics do get diluted very well with water. But there's also, like, in Tamiya acrylic thinner, there's a retarder, which actually helps the paint dry a little more slowly and gives you a little more leverage to work with when you're brush painting, or when you're hand painting or brush or airbrush painting. Yeah, so just use my buffer on my brush, and I think I'm just gonna get some pieces out of the sprue for my next step. And why don't I re-angle my phone and put myself up, and I'll kind of do this once more. Adjust my kind of station. Use my jump stand and do this. Yeah, and you'll get a clear view because Vallejo figure paints are very thick. They are thick, and I have a large thing of X20A I use for painting figures. Yeah, I have. Which one? What's the one that I have? Yep, X20A. So that's solid. Yeah, you're good then. I assumed for some reason that you don't have thinners, but thinners do help. Even with Vallejo paints, I find people say they don't have to be diluted at all, but it does help when you dilute them a little bit, and not with water. People say water gives them like a weird texture. I always dilute with the proper thinner. But let me get my instruction manual and just find a few pieces. So I've already cut out this dashboard here, which will be painted. Primed first, then painted. Let's see. So it's mostly clear parts that I need. And I'll put them back, and I'll go very slow. And I'm gonna take off my gloves. For one, they still have some paint on them. Two, I only really wear the gloves for paint jobs. I have kind of better tactile control. Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people, what you read online, it's definitely valuable, but take everything with a grain of salt. Definitely check with a couple sources, because some people will say water is great, and I'm sure for their use case it was, but if you dig deeper, I have to go eat dinner. Have a great night. Have a great night too, Sneaky Pigeon. I'm gonna be off in like 3 or so minutes anyway, but it was really nice having you here. Hope to see you again on one of these streams. Have a good weekend. Yeah, so anyways, gonna cut out a couple pieces from the clear sprue, if I can find it. There we go. And everything is kind of on the sprue already. And I'm gonna overshoot, and I'll trim them down later. So 12. (13C). What's the C for? 14C. 11A. Okay, where's 12? Version A. Yeah, I'm doing version A. This is piece 16. That's meant for B. And I assume this is 30. 13. I assume this is 12. Oh, and yet there are few alternative versions. Do I want an open canopy or a closed canopy? Oh, 12. Does 12 become 14? This is so confusing, actually. You know, I'm gonna take out 13 and I'm gonna... Yo, Chris, I'm finishing up with my scale model stream. As you can see, I'll give you a little tour. Or I don't know if you were on for a while, but yeah, this is my tour, and I'm cutting out some pieces from my sprue. I'm doing judo practice afterwards, and I'm not going to practice. What happened, I was doing a trust fall on a shoulder. I got too courageous, and on my lawn, and I broke a couple ribs 2 months ago. And it was so ironic because I just signed up for the judo club, and they're not there, but on my own time, without even going to a single practice, I broke 2 ribs, fractured them doing a trust fall. And it wasn't too painful. It just kind of hurt to breathe. But I had an x-ray done, and they said I broke a couple. But I'm it's been 8 weeks. They're more or less healed. I'm actually going to watch and observe. Yeah, it is what it is. It happens. And that was just the reality. But by the way, Chris, thanks so much for joining. It's always, I always try and talk to my audience. Even if no one is there, I know I get some viewers after. So I'm constantly talking throughout my streams. This morning I streamed my flight simulator. And I know no one was there, but I still kind of talk throughout, knowing that I'll get some viewers later. But yeah, what sucked the most was that I didn't get to practice for 2 months. I could have still, but I didn't want to push it further. My ribs could have even been worse if I had fallen, and it could have been a full fracture. What I had was I think a relatively minor fracture. So I just didn't want to push it. But tonight I'm going just to observe, because it's week 8, I believe, of me healing. And then starting next week, I'll actually start practicing with the guys there. Guys and girls, because I think there are a few women who train in that judo club as well. But yeah, I'm just going to do a time check. I'm more or less wrapping up my stream with the scale model. Yeah, it's 7, and I want to start kind of getting ready. But actually, I don't even have my judo gi, kimono, yet, and I need to order one online. But I will. And I think I found the pieces that I was looking for. Yeah, I did. They're right here on this sprue. I'll cut out a couple more. I thought they were clear pieces, but they're not. So I'll cut out number 12. By the way, this is the tool I use for cutting out pieces. Super good tool. It's called a sprue cutter. This is your sprue, and these are the pieces. Or yeah, just make the most of a bad situation. Yeah, and I should have gone earlier just to watch them and get to talk to them, because that way it'll kind of be less awkward on my first real day, because I've already talked to the people. But yeah, we'll see. So I'm gonna cut out one more piece here. What I've realized, this hobby is a lot more interesting when you're streaming it. You're a lot slower with it, but it's I love this hobby, but it's such a solitary hobby. And on a Friday, what are you going to do? You're going to go out or build models at home, and I've become very extroverted. So, I've only been doing these here and there when I don't mind doing something cool like this, but feeling Solitary. Well, have a nice night. Yeah, I'm about to get going too. It was nice seeing you online. Thanks so much for joining. Yeah, gaming is fun. Gaming is fun, and I've been gaming a lot more. Still haven't gamed with Horizon Zero Dawn, but or haven't played it. I mean, but I want to actually stream that. I want to get a capture card and start streaming my PS4. That's like a tripod and a capture card. Something I plan to buy in the next couple weeks. Two things I plan to buy. Anyways, see you, Chris. I'm going myself. Hope to do one of these streams again very soon.